Hello, and on today's episode of the WWE vs AEW podcast, we will be previewing the Double or Nothing card. That's right, AEW's biggest show of the year, well, maybe except for All Out, is happening this weekend, believe it or not. So we'll be previewing that for you, as well as talking some big injury news on the AEW front. We will have that, the ratings, and everything else right here on the WWE vs AEW podcast.
We're about to make history, each and every one of you. We use the word revolution because this is a revolution.
I am NXT, and I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Bro. This is an official declaration of war tonight to anyone who wants to get in my way and anybody who stands in AEW's way.
We are NXT!
This is what you call a paradigm shift.
You gotta love that intro, ain't you? Oh, anyway, how's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? What are we on? We're on week 33? Week 33, is that what it is, yeah? Week 33 of the Wednesday Night Wars. You're listening to the WWE vs AEW podcast. I'm your host, Daniel, and do you know what? I'm tired. I'm aching. Any of you got kids out there, right? So today, well, actually the other day, this is nothing to do with wrestling, but hey, I mean, I'm talking into a microphone, might as well tell you about my day. So, little girl, she's 4. She's wanted the trampoline for quite a while. I thought, right, I'll get her one. Do you know what I mean? We're under a lockdown, so she can't really go out and do much. So, of course, everywhere's sold out. Everywhere is sold out online. You can't get a trampoline in the UK for anything. So, on Wednesday, was it Tuesday night? I went to B&M, I went to Home Bargains, Asda, everywhere trying to get this trampoline. Didn't have one. Eventually, cut long story short, managed to get one. 100 quid, but hey, things you do. So anyway, finished work today. Do you know what I mean? I'm tired. Do you know what I mean? Do a labouring job. Well, window cleaning. And so go around to little girl's mum's house trying to put in this trampoline. So if you picture a trampoline, it was an 8-foot trampoline. So you've got springs on a trampoline that you then place into the hole. 48 of them going around to keep, obviously the trampoline tight, right? So little girl's mum's explaining to me what to do. I'm just round, do you know what I mean, to get them in. So I'm there with my hands pulling these springs in, and I tell they're hard, to get in. Managed to get one in. My hands are starting, I've got cuts all over my hands. I said, there's got to be an easier way. There must be a tool or something. So, I don't know. This is how you're meant to do it. So I'm there putting it in. I managed to get 38 of them in. 38, and my hands are all bleeding. We can't get the others in. Let's go inside. I Google, what is the correct way to put a spring into the trampoline? You get like a spanner. Sort of like a spanner thing with the trampoline. Put them all in. Took 5 minutes. Spent 2 hours getting the first 38 in. Took 5-10 minutes to put the remaining 10 in. So, moral of the story, if you want to do something doing proper, do it yourself. Anyway, but that's my rant. My hands are red raw. I'm absolutely shattered. I've got cuts all over my hand. But hey, I suppose we better get talking about the Wednesday Night Wars anyway, haven't we? I suppose that is what the podcast is all about. We've got Double or Nothing coming up this Saturday. It feels strange, doesn't it? Usually there's a lot more hype going into it. There was certainly last year. It's hard to believe it was a year ago since that first ever AEW show. Vegas, big weekend. We had all what was it called? I can't think of the name of the working mind. I can't think of the name. What's the name of the meet and greets that they did? The guy off there, Bruce Pritchard, Conrad Thompson did. I can't even think what it is. Anyway, we had all that going on. I just think the Cody versus Goldust legendary match now going on. Here we are, 12 months later. How the world has changed since then. The wrestling world, the entire world has changed since then. But yeah, so basically the big news really coming out of certainly this show. Basically, we're doing a review show on Sunday for the Double or Nothing show. So I wasn't actually going to do a show because the week obviously isn't finished yet. The week actually ends, but I thought I'd just do a quick show to get something in for our listeners, a bit of audio to hype you up for Double or Nothing. So we're just going to briefly talk about the two shows from last night. But the main thing coming out of the two shows was the injuries, especially on the AEW front. Britt Baker, I mean, if you've watched that tag team match where basically what happens is Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander pick up Nyla Rose, who is a heavy girl, they launch her into Britt Baker, who's sat at the turnbuckle, and she just lands on a leg. Oh, as soon as you seen it, you could tell Britt Baker just couldn't carry on with the match. She did her best, bless her. But it looked like a really, really serious injury. She's supposed to be facing Chris Statlander on the pay-per-view, was it on the pre-show, the main show, on Saturday. The match, as yet, at the time of recording this, hasn't been postponed, but Britt Baker, I thought she might have suffered a broken leg, but the reports coming out is that she suffered a very serious knee injury that could potentially keep her out for some time. Watch, I've said that, and she'll appear on Saturday. But yeah, it looks like she's going to be out of action for quite a while, which is a shame because she'd really sort of come out of this behind closed doors, well, with no audience, empty arena show. She was one of the ones who'd come out with a lot of steam, it felt, with the whole Tony Schiavone stuff. But yeah, hopefully she recovers soon. Other injury news. We have Rey Fenix, as you could tell when he basically did a dive over the top rope, and you could tell he does this dive and he sort of lands flat on his back, not in the way that you'd want to. He wasn't caught at all, really bad bump, and Phoenix actually led on the floor for quite a while after that. Hopefully Phoenix is okay. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, he has confirmed yesterday afternoon that Phoenix will still be working the casino ladder match that's taking place on Saturday. So Phoenix, do you know what I mean? He's been really battered before, and he's one of them that will just carry on working unless it's physically impossible not to. So no surprise that Phoenix still scheduled to work Double or Nothing. And then the last injury was the returning Young Bucks. They returned in the brawl on the football stadium, on the football pitch at the end. And upon doing the first move back, Matt Jackson, rumour is that he's actually hurt his rib, potentially even broke his rib on that first dive that you saw onto the football pitch. So some bad injury news for AEW. Britt Baker, Matt Jackson, Rey Fenix, all injured going into that big show on Saturday, all in different matches. But obviously the one that does look to be in jeopardy the most is the Britt Baker match. Obviously it's a singles match, so it's not like they can just really replace her with someone. So yeah, will be interesting to see what they do about that. Probably just cancel the match. But yeah, hopefully Britt Baker has a quick recovery. So Britt Baker out with potential long-term knee injury. Matt Jackson, injured rib. He'll probably still work Saturday, knowing Matt Jackson, won't he? And Rey Fenix, who looks to have injured his back, but is still set to continue in that ladder match. So, I'll talk about the ratings first, actually, because the ratings from last night, a big landslide victory for AEW yet again. 701,000 viewers up from last week, and NXT down from last week. I said last week if it weren't for the Matt Riddle stuff, they'd have slipped below 600,000 viewers if they hadn't have promoted the show as well last week. But they did 592,000 viewers, so a 109,000 viewer advantage for AEW. And to be honest, it's no surprise for me. NXT last night, Wednesday night, was crap. I put that on Twitter. People might disagree, but I thought it was a boring show. It was fucking boring. I'm sorry. I was sat there and I've got into the routine of watching NXT first, usually because Tebs, who does the other podcast with us, check out his Movie Chef podcast, which I was on incidentally. So search Movie Chef podcast on YouTube to find that one. But Tebs always messaged me, "Did you watch NXT last night? Have you seen NXT?" And whenever someone messages me that, I think, maybe something big's happened. They're not going to tell me if it has because they know I don't want spoilers, but I'll check that one out first. I've done it the last 3 weeks, Tebs, now, because of these texts, maybe 2 weeks. And so I put NXT on first, and it was... The show opened up with that Karrion Kross squash, their entrance. I still don't know whether I love it or think it's a bit over the top, But yeah, it is pretty good, isn't it? It's different. And they had a nice little segment with Ciampa setting up the In Your House match. And we had Phantasma. He qualified to the final of the interim cruiserweight title match. Mia Yim defeated Santana Garrett. They built up the Gargano versus Keith Lee match, which was... Do you know what I mean? These matches aren't really like busting out to anyone. We had Roderick Strong defeating Dexter Lumis via roll-up. And it was like, I was watching that, specifically the Roderick Strong-Dexter Lumis match. Aren't they like trying to push Dexter Lumis? I'm thinking, why is Roderick Strong winning this match? Via roll-up, which will play into what happens later in the show. So I'm watching the show and I'm thinking, I'm going to be honest, if I wasn't recording the show, I wouldn't have stuck with NXT this week. That's how bored I was. I have no desire to talk about it at all. So, as I say, as you hear me spout on about, this is a week-to-week podcast talking about the Wednesday Night War. So, there's a week where I am that down on one of the products that I don't really want to review it, then I'm going to go along with it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go into detail. That's how I felt at the time. So, yeah, NXT, you're not doing your job at the moment. Mass Men attacked Tozawa backstage. We had Birch and Lorcan defeat Everrise at Young Bucks ripoff. So the matches so far: Phantasma versus Tozawa, Mia Yim versus Santana Garrett, Birch and Lorcan versus Everrise. Do any of these matches inspire you to go and watch NXT? A Karrion Cross squash match. So those are the first 4 matches. Wrestling, there's too much wrestling these days, too much classic stuff to go back and watch for me to sit through 4 matches like that. I genuinely just don't think there's much of a time for squash matches anymore and enhancement matches. There's that much wrestling going on. People are not going to sit and watch something unless it's either great or at least good, or they're at least interested in the people in it, which I wasn't for any of these. We basically found out that Matt Riddle is going to be fighting Timothy Thatcher in a cage next week. No pinfall, so basically like a blood sport match, but in a cage, or an M&A fight. So I'm sure that'll be great next week. Excited for that one. I will be excited for that. Next we have the best thing on the show, Kushida versus Drake Maverick. If Drake Maverick loses his career in WWE, he's already been sacked apparently, so this would have been his last match. And I just thought Kushida just did a great job of torturing Drake. The work on the arm was fantastic. Incredible selling from Drake Maverick in this match. Just great babyface facials. He was screaming, no, which was just played into the story even more. It made you desperately want the Kushida's work on the arm and Drake Maverick's selling of the arm. Come the finish of the match made me go, yes, which is... That's what it's all about. It's about getting... So I was down on the show. I still am, but really badly down on the show. And they got me into it. Yeah. So they did a really good job with that. It was perfect. Really, really like this. Drake Maverick gets the win with like a roll-up. Kushida has his arm bar in. They do like a dive off the top turnbuckle where Kushida lands on Drake Maverick into the arm bar. Drake Maverick screaming. He just tilts him into basically the exact same pin that happened in the Roderick Strong match. So although it was great, they didn't need to do this 2 matches before. Literally 20 minutes before we had borderline the exact same finish. So apart from that, I loved it, but they need to cut out these roll-up wins. If they're going to do the flash pins, 1 a show is more than enough. You don't need 2 in 3 matches. But yeah, really great stuff. Definitely go and check out the Kushida versus Drake Maverick match. Really, really good stuff. We get Damian Priest promo. Damian Priest, though I was a big fan of Punishment Martinez during his Ring of Honor run, this really didn't do anything for me. Then we get Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley, main event. First time ever match, a match that I'd love to see on a takeover. Big match. They just waste it. They just waste it, don't they? Do you know what I mean? They're having a decent match. They go about 8 or 9 minutes. Charlotte comes out, attacks both. Yawn. Just typical WWE's way of building up a triple threat match, and it's fucking boring. They need to work on it. It's not good enough. Every time, do you know what I mean? It makes the heel look stupid for stopping the match, because every time this happens, they just add another opponent, another triple threat match. It is just stupid. I guarantee the build-up for Cena, Orton, Triple H had something like this from WrestleMania, 24... 10, 11 years ago. Fucking hell, was that 10 or 11 years ago? Basically, we'll have had the same build up to this, and it's boring. It's boring. Don't want to see it. So NXT was shit apart from a really, really, really good Kushida Drake Maverick match. If you're thinking, I'll watch NXT, I'll stick it on for 2 hours, don't fucking bother. Just watch the Kushida Drake Maverick match and, yeah, crack on. So NXT was shit. Sorry, a lot of swearing in this, but I've had a long day, believe it or not. Literally, the depths I go to gear this podcast, I have got my little girl's nana to take her out for an hour, purely so I can record this podcast in peace for you, our lovely, lovely listeners. AEW was... I'm losing the will to talk about these fucking shows. AEW was fine. Overall, it was good. I'm not going to run through everything because it just wasn't... It was fine. It wasn't... We had I don't know, I enjoyed the Brody Lee stuff. He cut a really good cult-like promo, says he has to win Saturday. He allows Moxley to beat down 10 with the chair, break his arm. We had MJF tapping out Marco Stunt, which was fun while it lasted. We had the Arn Anderson-Jake Roberts interview, which didn't do much for me at all, if I'm honest. And they have a pull apart. Not really sure. We needed Cody Rhodes, Lance Archer in these roles on this show. Criminal, we didn't have these two featured more heavily on the show. We had a Pac segment, which he clearly sent in. He's in lockdown back in the UK, and he goes, "Orange Cassidy, you cocky little prick." And it proper tickled me. That cheered me up. Phoenix beat Orange Cassidy in a really, really nice match. Lots of dives. This is where Ray Phoenix picked up his injury. We had the Britt Baker injury in that women's tag match. Then at the end of the show, Matt Hardy beat Sammy Guevara. You can tell that I breezed through this, but hey, you're getting action on Sunday with a review for the Double or Nothing show. I was hardly even paying attention to most of this last night, to be honest. Matt Hardy beat Sammy Guevara, and that ensues in a big brawl on the football pitch because Chris Jericho has Kenny Omega. We have the Young Bucks, with Matt Jackson injured himself in this. They have a big brawl, and then from the side of the pitch, if you rewind it back, Hangman Page makes his long-awaited return. He runs right into the centre of the pitch, and you can't see it. And then he just comes out of nowhere and charges at everyone, beats everyone down. He won. I like how they went off air teasing the fact that Hangman Page is still not with the Elite. This long month-to-month story still going. Page isn't with the Elite, and he walks off as the Bucks, Omega, and Matt Hardy pose together on the pitch. So yeah, that teases a bit of tension, something going into this match on Saturday. I'm not used to saying on Sunday, but on Saturday night. So they were the two shows. I breezed through it. I'd say if you're going to watch anything from the two shows, watch the Drake Maverick match, watch the ending of AEW, and I'd probably watch the Orange Cassidy against Ray Phoenix match, and the Brody Lee promo. So, winner of the week. AEW was okay, NXT was fucking dreadful. So I'm going to go with AEW wins the week. They had the better show. I enjoyed a few more things. Not much, but I enjoyed a few more things on their show than NXT. Their go-home show for Double or Nothing. We had that great moment with Hangman Page at the end. So AEW winner of the week. But the match of the week for me goes to Kushida versus Drake Maverick. So yeah, go and check those matches out. So yeah, that was the two shows. Not the best week of the Wednesday Night Wars at all, as you can tell with my dejection going into this. And now it is time. We're going to quick preview of your Double or Nothing 2020 card. So the main event of the show, which they actually announced on Dynamite this week, is for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee. So main event... You can tell that Tony Khan goes with the attitude of the world title should main event the pay-per-views. I'm not sure. Obviously, you don't have a crowd, so you can do this. But for me, I always think the title match should main event the show, unless it's a match where you don't think the title match can top another one of the matches. Sort of like Moxley Jericho couldn't really top the tag title match from Revolution. But I do respect the fact that at least they're treating the world title with some respect. It's not like they need to get the crowd up for the main event, so probably is a good choice to have Moxley Brody Lee main event. It seems a bit soon to take the title off Jon Moxley. At the same time, though, I don't really want to see Brody Lee lose. So tough one. I personally, I'd like to see Brody Lee win. Feel like Harper fucking deserves his chance after the way he was treating WWE. I really do like... Do you know what I mean? I feel like Moxley is one of them guys where does he really need a 6-month run with the belt? Probably not. But I think if you want to do a heel run, you could possibly... I'd possibly stick the title on Brody Lee. Do you know what I mean? It might be more in Moxley chasing. And then obviously... I don't know, because I was hoping for maybe a Moxley Omega title match at All Out, but tough one. I think my head's telling me Moxley, but I think I quite like Brody Lee to win. So yeah, tough one. I think they'll have a good match. Don't think it'll be great. It'll be like your 3 to 3.25 star level. But yeah, should be fun. Be interesting to see. I'm not 100% on who's going to win. Cody versus Lance Archer for the first ever AEW TNT Championship. That's going to be interesting. You've obviously got Jake the Snake. You've got fucking I shouldn't be swearing, should I? You've got Arn Anderson out there. Cody versus Lance Archer will be a very good match. Lance Archer's brilliant. Great big man Cody Rhodes always brings it in these pay-per-view matches. You've got the whole Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is going to be on hand to present the winner with a TNT title. That's going to be exciting. Tyson in great shape. So really, what would you say? Tyson knocks out the heel champion Lance Archer. I don't know. I was listening to The Observer before. They were saying that Sammy Guevara always seems to like die on one of these shows. It's not like literally, but obviously you know what I'm saying. So maybe Cody could win and Sammy Guevara could come out there somehow, maybe like challenge Cody, and Iron Mike Tyson smashes him with a right, left hand, whatever-handed he is. But anyway, yeah, so that'll be interesting. My prediction, I think it makes sense. They went with a heel winner for the first AEW title, so maybe you go with a babyface for this. Or do you want to save the big pop of Cody winning a title in front of a crowd? I think you do. So I'm going to go with Lance Archer winning this one. Lance Archer for me. The Stadium Stampede match, which for me should main event. If it was in... tough. I hate fucking sick of saying if it was in front of a crowd. We'll never know, will we? But yeah, Matt Hardy and the Elite versus the Inner Circle in the Stadium Stampede. Really excited for this. They're going to put a ring in the middle of the football pitch. It's just great. It's sort of like they was originally meant to be doing this in the Blood and Guts match, weren't they? From the Prudential Centre, was it, at the end of March? The building, was it, where Dolph Ziggler cashed in Money in the Bank? But yeah, they weren't going to do that, but they've gone with this Stadium Stampede. Maybe we'll get the Blood and Guts match when they're back in front of crowds. There you are, that magic C word. But yeah, this should be crazy. I'm really excited to see what they can do with this. It's just going to be a great visual in it, and them fighting in the football stadium. Hopefully the floodlights will be on. It's just going to be brilliant. I'm excited to see what they do with this. Casino ladder match. Darby Allin versus Colt Cabana versus Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix, if he appears after his injury, versus Scorpio Sky versus Kip Sabian versus Frankie Kazarian versus Luchasaurus versus a mystery competitor. It's obviously a gambling themed match because it was originally meant to be in Vegas. The Casino ladder match. Hopefully it's better than that Casino Battle Royal last time. I don't like this. The match begins with 2 men in the ring and a new competitor will enter every 90 seconds. Theoretically, the match could be finished before the 9th competitor gets in the ring. Hopefully, it sounds like a complete clusterfuck, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe in Tony Khan I trust, but they didn't do a good job with that Casino Battle Royal last year. A double or nothing, so we'll see. My pick for winning it, obviously we don't know who the mystery competitor is. I was thinking they can't really have any of the WWE release guys in there, so maybe, I don't know, I was thinking maybe a Jeff Cobb sound good? Jeff Cobb obviously was meant to, he had that match with Moxley back in January, but he was like wanting to still work in loads of different places, but obviously now that work has dried up, maybe he might have signed a deal with AEW. So yeah, Jeff Cobb would be my pick to debut in this match. Usually if you debut in a match, I'd think you should win it, but I'm trying to think who I'd go with for this. Looking at it, Darby Allin or Scorpio Sky maybe my pick for, and I think I might go with Darby Allin, but there's a lot of people who could win. Luchasaurus was hot at one point, that's cooled off, maybe go with him. They might go with the Otis thing and have Orange Cassidy, the Common Edict thing win, but the winner will get a shot at the AEW World title. So this will be interesting. MJF versus Jungle Boy, 2 future stars if they're not already stars. you'd think MJF should win this match. Maybe they'll go with a surprise of having Jungle Boy. But yeah, I'll be picking MJF to win this match. Should be good. AEW Women's Championship, Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida in no DQ match. I'm not really too into this. I don't like the AEW's women's division. Hopefully they can have a good match. Don't feel like it's the right time for Hikaru Shida to win the belt, if there ever is going to be, but I don't really care about the belt, to be honest, so I'll probably go with Nyla Rose to retain, but hopefully they can have a decent match. I'll probably be using this match to make a coffee, because this show finishes at 4 a.m. UK time on a Saturday night, and right now I'm in the routine of going to bed at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so staying up until that time is going to be a big job. Hopefully I can make it till 4 a.m. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander, I'm guessing, will be postponed due to that horrific injury to Britt Baker on Dynamite. We'll wait and see. Dustin Rhodes versus Sean Spears was a late last minute job. They added that really late on. Spears basically challenged in that quick vignette on Dynamite, challenged Dustin for a match. So yeah, Dustin versus Sean Spears. Sean Spears needs the win here, but I saw how much they seem to be protecting Dustin during his match with Lance Archer, so you would say Dustin might win this, but I think Sean Spears via dirty tricks. Do you know what I mean? Sean Spears will probably cheat to win this match. Private Party versus Best Friends on the pre-show. Winner gets number one contendership for the AEW tag titles. Best Friends will win this. I think Private Party haven't done enough recently, but the Best Friends have been getting a bit of a push, it would seem. They've been winning a lot of tag matches on Dynamite recently. And yeah, that's the show. Questions. Will we have the Revolt debut? Will we have any of these WWE release guys? Maybe. People are saying like they can't compete for X amount of time, but if you remember, I'm sure Moxley had this at the end of last year, and he appeared at Double or Nothing last year, the end of May, and he only left WWE middle of April. That was 6 weeks, so anything's possible. We'll see who makes their debut. Someone will be doing anyway in that ladder match. But yeah, the card overall, I don't think it's the card we would have got had it had been in Vegas. I think they might have got maybe a more different title match on, but some of these matches I think are going to be good. It's going to be a good show. Might not be a great show, but hopefully it is. We will see. So yeah, Double or Nothing Saturday night. We will be reviewing the show on Sunday. I will post. It'll be on our YouTube. Just search Neutral Wrestling. I will also put it in the WWE versus AEW podcast feed. So the show's been a bit shorter than usual. Come on, I've had a tough day. You heard the trampoline story. It's been a tough day. Little girl's been sent out, bless her, so I can record this podcast. Yeah, you've got about half an hour of audio. You can listen to this before Double or Nothing, get you in the mood for the show. So yeah, support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Neutral Wrestling. Subscribe to us on YouTube, just search Neutral Wrestling. Find us on Twitter at WWE versus AEW. Or at Neutral Res. I am your host, Daniel, and I will see you all next week. Actually, I'll see you on Sunday to review Double or Nothing. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you later.